Hello everybody, welcome to the Studios. My name is Magnus, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my top 10 favorite Exo-Force battle machines. So Exo-Force is a LEGO team that is mainly focused on robot battle machines, slash mechs if you will. And in this video, I basically want to show you guys my 10 favorites from the team. But now, before I get into the countdown, I do want to point out the rules that I've made here. And the biggest rule is that all of these battle machines have to be sold individually. So I will not be looking at 2 packs, or I will not be looking at battle machines that came in other sets. I will only be looking at the battle machines that were sold separately. Though I will give you guys some honorable mentions at the end of the video, or at least I hope so. But without too much more talking, let's get into the list. So, at number 10, we have set number 7708, the Uplink. Now, this right here is a very small little battle machine, but it is actually very cool if you ask me. I do love the joints that are used. This mech basically uses the small little ratchet joints, which is actually kind of cool to see. And now the most interesting part about this battle machine has to be the shoulder pads. In case you don't know, the shoulder pads are apparently hockey helmets. Basically, this piece was used on those weird sports technic hockey figures, where this piece was used as their helmets. And now this was apparently the last set to use this piece, and I do think they used it in a very creative way. And I do also love the weaponry that this thing has. So overall, even though it is kind of small, I do think that the Uplink is a nice small little battle machine. At number 9, we have set number 8115, the Dark Panzer. So this right here was one of the last Exo-Force battle machines. This one is actually kind of cool. Obviously this is called the Dark Panzer, and well, when you really look at it, you can kind of see why it's called that. It is kind of supposed to be a panzer. It has 4 legs, and I do love the actual body part. I do love the 2 little spikes that stick up at the top, as well as the 2 spikes that stick out on the side. And also this battle machine has a small little robot that can be detached as well, which is also kind of cool. So yeah, I definitely do think that the Dark Panzer is a very cool battle machine. At number 8, we have set number 8102, the Blade Titan. So this battle machine right here has a couple of cool elements to it. I really do love the 6 barrel gun that it has. That definitely looks very cool. And I do also love the shield that it has, which also does has a blade. That's why it's called the Blade Titan. And basically it can use this shield blade thing to basically shield off attacks, which is actually very cool. I do appreciate the fact that this battle machine does have some defenses. It's very cool. And now the colors are kind of interesting because it uses white as well as dark red. And I know it's not really that appealing, but I do kind of think it looks kind of white, I guess. But still, even without the colors, this is still a very cool looking battle machine. At number 7, we have set number 8104, the Shadow Crawler. So this right here is basically a tripod battle machine, and I do think that makes it kind of unique. I do love how there are 2 little pincers sticking out the front, kind of like a scorpion. That's kind of cool to see as well. I do love the weapons that this thing has, and there's even a disc shooter, which is also kind of cool to see. They don't make those anymore, but the disc shooter was used a lot in this team. And there's even a back part that has a skeleton at the back. Not sure what's going on there, but I do think that this is definitely a very cool and unique Exo-Force battle machine. At number 6, we have set number 7703, the Fire Vulture. So this right here is one of the first Exo-Force battle machines. But I actually think this thing is kind of cool. I love the claws that it has on one of the arms. I think those look very cool. And I love the giant turbine that it has at the back. I definitely think that makes this battle machine have a very cool and unique shape. And I do love the flamethrower-like weapon that it has on the arm. That is, if it is a flamethrower. But it's basically the reason why this is called a fire vulture. And I do love how they used a horse attachment piece as the cockpit. I do think that's a very interesting parts usage as well, or at least that's a piece that would be used to connect a horse to a chariot, if you will. And overall, I just think this is a very cool original Exo-Force battle machine. At number 5, we have at number 8113, the Assault Tiger. So this battle machine right here is actually kind of cool, and I love the equipment that it has. I love the saw blade that it has on the one arm, and then on the other arm it has a shooter, which is cool. And also there is some antenna equipment at the back, which is actually kind of cool. And of course this battle machine also has a little robot that can be attached as well. And for some reason I kind of like the cockpit section. I don't know why, I just think that kind of looks nice. And also you love how this thing has some air vents on the side. I do love the parts usage that is used there. And yeah, overall I just think this is a very cool and unique looking battle machine. At number 4 we have at number 7712, the Supernova. So this right here is kind of similar to the Assault Tiger that we just looked at, but this thing kind of looks a little bit better if you ask me. So first of all, I love the wings that are sticking out on this thing. I definitely think that looks very cool. And I love the little shooter that it has on one arm. And I also love the sword that it has on the other arm. And I do think that the overall shaping does look very cool as well. And it looks like there are some turrets on the side of the cockpit as well. Or I don't even know if those are turrets, but they still look very cool. And yeah, well, I just think this is a very interesting and unique looking battle machine. At number 3, we have at number 7707, the Striking Venom. So this right here is definitely the best robot battle machine. I mean, look at this thing, it is crazy and huge. This is basically a giant 4-legged spider crawler thing. And I love the pillar-like legs that it has. And I do love how they use shovel pieces at the bottom of the legs. I do think that looks very cool. And I also love the 8-barrel minigun that it has at the front using binocular pieces. That's a very cool design, I like that a lot. And I do love the giant turret that it has at the top. And it even has a disc shooter as well. And now, I do know that there are some exposed Technic pieces, but at least they kind of blend in with the color scheme, so it's not too big of a deal. And I do also love how they decided to use Bora guys at the cockpit section, so that way it kind of looks like it has a face, you know? And yeah, overall, I just think this is a very cool and interesting looking villain battle machine. At number 2, we have the number 8106, the Arrow Booster. So this right here is very epic. I mean, you cannot tell me that this isn't epic, okay? So the front of the battle machine is very similar to the Cyclone Defender, except this time it doesn't really have any weapons. However, it has this giant booster section at the back, which is basically just hooked up to the battle machine. And dude, it makes it look very awesome. And it also has a bunch of cool weapons like some guns at the side, as well as a cannon at the top. So of all of the Exo-Force battle machines that they've put out, this right here is definitely the most epic one. However, it is not number 1. So what is my favorite Exo-Force battle machine of all time? Well, my favorite Exo-Force battle machine has to be the number 7700, the Stealth Hunter. So this right here is actually a very cool looking battle machine. And I do think that the overall design is very cool. I love the 2 giant wing pieces that it has at the back. I love the gun that it has as well. I even love how you use like helicopter fin pieces at the legs. I do think that looks very cool. And I love the giant blade that it has. And it looks like there even are some 2 guns sticking out towards the cockpit. Or maybe that's just a signing or something like that, I don't really know. But overall, I just think it's a very nice looking battle machine. And I'm very surprised they even decided to have a remake of this set in the Robot World roller coaster set. That was kind of unexpected. But overall, of all of the Exo-Force battle machines that have been made, this right here has to be my favorite. And that was it. Those were my 10 favorite Exo-Force battle machines. And now, of course, you guys can let me know down in the comments below what Exo-Force battle machine is your favorite. But before I go, I also wanted to give you guys some honorable mentions, of course. So first of all, we have the Bridge Walker, which was packaged with the white lightning. I do think it's a very cool and intimidating looking battle machine. I mean, just look at that thing. That thing has a lot of weapons, it's crazy. And now the other honorable mention that I have will have to be the Silent Strike that was packaged with the Sentai Fortress. It's just a very cool looking battle machine, and I do love the equipment that it has. It's very cool as well. So yeah, I also just wanted to point out a couple of honorable mentions as well. But anyways, that's it for this video. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and hit that bell notification button so that you'll get notified when I upload a new video. So now, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.